All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the June Keys Penguin Habitat. My name is Dana. I'm waving to you from the inside of Penguin Beach. And you guys are just in time for our Penguin Holiday Enrichment session. Currently, I'm the only one being enriched right now. When we talk about enrichment, that just means any kind of toys, anything that's fun, new, different, or exciting that makes our penguins just lay down and not care. But we're bringing out toys just to see if our penguins do want to interact with them. So I have a bubble blower that they were a really big fan of earlier. We'll see if they come out to play. And a couple of little toy balls to see if they want to... Okay, got some curious takers. Maybe. We'll see if they come on out and play. Like I said, my name is Dana. I'm one of our aviculturists here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and that means I take care of some of our animals and our birds here at the aquarium. Now today I have the pleasure of working with our 23 Magellanic penguins who seem intrigued by the bubbles. I'm not really sure what they want to do with them yet. We'll see if they come up on the deck. It's all up to them. So the enrichment sessions we do with our animals today are just to kind of make the holiday season a little bit more fun for our animals. You'll see we've been giving them a little bit of different food enrichment. As the bubbles kind of go out of the pool, you might see them kind of interact with them as well. Like I said, thank you all so much for joining me. I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the penguins since none of them are up really here on the beach hanging out with me. Well, hopefully we'll get some penguins up on the beach to kind of show you what they can do. They are very smart birds, they're very social, and they're very inquisitive. So bubbles are a great thing for them to play with. I kind of liken them to cats. Any kind of flashy object, anything that kind of bobbles around, bubbles are great. It really piques their interest. We've had butterflies and June bugs that fly around in feeding time, and sometimes they're more interested in the bugs than the actual food. Now, our penguins here that we have at the aquarium are all fish eaters, so they're going to be eating capelin and herring. I got some takers over there on the right hand, on your left-hand side of the beach. Now, most of the interested penguins are some of our chicks. So one of our chicks is actually on the beach over on my left-hand side, your right-hand side. That is D. So all of our penguins have a banded color band on their flippers. Left-hand side, it's a female. Right-hand side, it's a male. So that's an easy way to tell them apart. But for our chicks, they look a little bit different from our adult penguins in here. If you look at D on the beach, I don't know how much of her chest that you can see, but she has that nice gray band across her chest, whereas the adults have those two black bands across their chests. Now, we have 3 chicks on exhibit right now. They were actually hatched earlier this year. We have a couple of seagulls joining us up above, and that's probably going to spook the penguins a little bit. Now, they don't know that they're not actually in any danger from those seagulls, but right now our penguins are in something called migration mode, or migration season. And what that means is they're easily spooked or startled by anything. Anything. It could be baby seagulls, it could be the bubbles, but usually they're very interactive with the bubbles and they enjoy them. But we'll see if those seagulls do go away and our penguins decide to come up on the beach. But as I was saying, we had penguin chicks hatch earlier this year. And they seem to be doing well within our flock. Usually when they're very young, we hand raise them kind of off-site behind the scenes. And once they get old enough to socialize with the rest of the penguins, we'll bring them out to the beach, start introducing them to the colony of penguins that we have here. Because these animals are so social, we want them to form those social bonds with each other. Now, I was talking a little bit earlier about the bands that these penguins have that serves to identify them. So this is Admiral Fancy Pants coming up on the beach right now. He's one of our younger penguins. He's about 3 years old. Hi, buddy. And he's thought better of that decision and is running right back into the water where the safety is. Again, during this season, during migration mode, you'll see most of them in the water throughout the entire day, and that's totally normal. Oftentimes, they're going to be up on the beach, they're going to be sleeping, just kind of staring off into the abyss. But during this time, they're going to be in the water more often than not, just because they feel safer in the water, and they're used to kind of moving and migrating in the water, as the term would suggest. Out in their natural habitat, they're native to areas of Argentina and Chile. They'd be migrating off land, off the coast, going in search of food. Out in their natural habitat, they're going to be feeding on small, schooling fish like sardines. And we give them something very similar, herring and capelin here at the aquarium. So you'll see them most of the time in the water, but again, it doesn't help that they are easily startled by things right now, just because out in the ocean is where they find most of their predators. And this is a stare coming up on the beach, maybe deciding to check out the bubbles. It's pretty fun, I promise. And not sold on it. All right, but I'm going to be hanging out here for a little bit to see if any of our penguins do want to come up on the beach. And I'll keep talking to you about our penguins in the hopes that some of them will join me up here. I'm enjoying the bubbles. I'm being covered in bubbles right now. But as I was saying, these penguins are actually native to Argentina and Chile, so they're not going to be penguins that live around ice or snow for their entire lives. They're actually going to be living on sandy beaches. Now, a lot of times people think or assume that penguins always must have ice or snow. Their water that they're native to is actually very chilly. The water in this exhibit is fairly cold, but they're not used to living on ice when they're out of the water, so they don't need ice up here or anything like that. Now, a couple of our penguins do have a bit of an interesting story. We call them our Brazilian rescue penguins, because they were rescued off the coast of Brazil. They were found up near Rio de Janeiro, which is a little far north for them. And the farther north you go, a little bit warmer it gets. Now, penguins are pretty susceptible to foot issues when they're standing on land or on deck. So if they're standing on a warm, sandy beach that they're not used to, they can develop a lot of foot problems called bumblefoot. It sounds cute. It's not a cute thing to have on their feet. It's kind of like almost bed sores. Like if a human laid in bed for too long, they can get those sores developing on their feet. And so these birds were actually rescued off the coast of Brazil, and they came here to live with us at the aquarium. Now, the rest of our penguins have been hatched. They are birds at different facilities and zoos around the aquarium. Admiral Fancy Pants, who you saw come up earlier, is actually from San Diego. And we've had several penguins hatch here at the aquarium throughout the years that we've had our exhibit open. Yeah, I have no idea what that was. It was something. Sometimes they startle each other. If one moves too quickly, they realize must be something wrong, and they all dash into the water. Now, if you look on either side of our exhibits, you'll notice we kind of have basically key codes for reading their bands. It lists all the penguins' names and all of their band colors. So those band colors help us tell the penguins apart, but they also serve as their ID number, essentially. So all of our penguins are part of an SSP. It's a species survival program, and that SSP helps kind of catalog all of the Magellanic penguins that we have in North America. Now we refer to them basically as the North American colony. All right, we got a penguin. I don't know. This is Admiral Fancy Pants again, coming up again. Like I said, he came from San Diego to live with us. He's been with us for a few years. Okay, no, not today. Not right now. Hopefully he'll come back up in a little bit. He is one of our more friendly birds. He does like people. Some of our birds are not people. They're more bird people. They like to hang out with the other birds, but again, some of them form stronger bonds with people. Now, he came up here to help spread out his genetics. As I was saying, the SSP basically monitors all of the penguins in North America and how their genetics are spread out within their colony or colonies around North America as well. And that helps us make sure that their genetics are spread out, and we're kind of promoting the survival of the species within facilities around the United States, essentially. And this is a stare again coming up on the beach. Oh, so close. I think he went the farthest out of all the penguins so far on the beach today. Now, if you guys have been up on the exhibit for a little bit, you might have heard some of them vocalizing as well. They do have a little bit of a nickname. They have a braying sound that almost sounds like a donkey. There's 4 different species of penguins that kind of have that nickname. They're called banded penguins, and that's because they have those nice black bands across their chests. Some have 1 band, some have 2 band, but they all have that very distinct kind of braying, almost donkey-like sound. And that is, again, just a way of them kind of touching base with the other members of their colony. It's sort of a contact call, if you will. That kind of lets them know where other members are, what they're doing, kind of where they're at in the exhibit. Now, if you look behind me, you may notice some small holes on the rockwork behind me. Those are their burrows. So this species is a burrowing species. They'll be digging kind of nests or burrows during breeding season. All right, I think this is the farthest any penguin has come during this session. And that was Wally. That was it looks like one of our chicks. Wally or Jade? Oh, that was Jade. It was on her left-hand side. So again, left-hand side is a female, right-hand side is a male. Wally and Jade have very similar color bands, but because it was on the left-hand side, it looked like Jade. But like I said, those burrows are kind of back behind me. This is where they'll be breeding or laying eggs. Now, the year kind of looks a little bit like this. They're in migration season right now. And then they have breeding season kind of towards the earlier of the year, coming into springtime. And then they have their molting season after breeding season. In a molting season, they have something called a catastrophic molt, where they lose all of their feathers in one time. It looks a little uncomfortable. It seems a little uncomfortable for the penguins. But right now, they're right after their molting season is migration season. So all of our penguins have nice, fresh, new feathers. They look really, really pretty right now. And their feathers are pretty unique and pretty special. They're pretty much waterproof. They have an oil gland at the base of their tail or their butt that they use to kind of spread on their beak. They take that oil and they rub it in their feathers. And that keeps their feathers nice and tight and nice and waterproof. That, first of all, keeps them nice and warm in colder weather. And you can hear that kind of braying sound if you heard our penguins kind of talking just a second ago. But that also helps them become a little bit more dynamic in the water, to move a little bit faster or quicker. Penguins can't fly, but people like to say that they fly through the water. They are very agile. If you look at their flippers, their feathers are packed very densely and very tightly, and it makes them very hard and very good, almost like a paddle you might find on a boat. And it helps them swim pretty quickly through the water. Now it looks like we're just about out of bubbles. We'll see if we have some tankers from the chicks right here at the beach. We'll see if they want to come up and hang out. If not, I'm probably going to head back in. Yeah? Oh, exciting. You want to see the bubble? Oh, scary. Scary bubbles, I know. How about this? So again, they are very smart. They're very inquisitive, very curious birds. So they'll come up, they'll check it out, and when they decide that it's not for me, they usually kind of go back into the water. But this is one of our chicks right now. This was our only male chick that we had hatched this year. This is Wally. Do you want to play with this? Or are you more interested in the bubbles, I think? Kind of came up to check it out, see what was going on. But I'll be up here for just a little bit, hanging out with our penguins, see if anyone wants to come up on the beach. But thank you all so much for joining me, and have a wonderful rest of your day here at the aquarium, and have a great holiday season.